It's Washington State Republican Party Chairman Jim Walsh speaking to you in what is now our second weekly installment of our Chairman's Update. This week, what I want to talk to you about follows in the theme of last week's video about unity and things that bring conservatives and right-of-center people in Washington together. I want to talk this week about the cap-and-trade tax scheme here in Washington. It's been in the news a lot, partly because the current governor of Washington has jetted back to Manhattan to hang around with Al Gore and Michael Bloomberg and a bunch of other billionaire celebrities and talk at the UN about climate change. In the meantime, here in Washington, working families are suffering with high gas and diesel prices. I mean, it's ridiculous. The statewide average is over $5 a gallon for gas. A lot of places here on the west side of the mountains, people are paying $5.40, $5.50, even $5.70 a gallon for gas. And diesel fuel is even more expensive, pushing up towards $6 a gallon now. This is a real problem. It's a problem born of a bad policy, the so-called Climate Commitment Act, which is the fancy name of the cap-and-trade tax scheme. And the thing about these cap-and-trade tax schemes is they don't actually lower pollution. They don't do anything to make less carbon outputs. All they do is raise the price of energy, and that is regressive. It's a tax that falls heaviest on the people who can least afford it. And it's just amazing to me that we hear left-of-center politicians in Washington always talking about the state's regressive tax policy, and then they support regressive taxes. Now, it's my opinion the only real fix to this cap-and-trade tax scheme is to repeal it. And there is an initiative out gathering signatures right now that the state party has endorsed that would repeal the cap-and-trade tax scheme. But there have also been a couple of other kind of reform proposals made. One from a state senator that would limit the amount that these allowances, the permits to pollute that are part of the cap-and-trade scheme, it would limit the amount that those allowances could be bid up in the state's auction processes for selling off those pollution permits. Another one that has been put forward by a Republican state legislator, April Connors, out of the Tri-Cities area, would actually set up a series of rebates to people based on the tax revenues generated by the cap-and-trade scheme. So you'd get a check back for part of the additional money you're paying to fill your tank with gas or diesel. Those are both good proposals. They're worth discussing. And I feel very strongly that we, among the common sense conservatives of Washington, need to be talking about ways to fix this awful cap-and-trade tax scheme. Now, we may prefer one mechanism of fixing it over another, but this is an issue that brings us together. And you know what? It brings us together with people who are on all points on the political spectrum. No one who's paying for gas or diesel likes this tax scheme. And it's the kind of thing that either needs to be fixed or repealed. Good policy makes people's lives better. And here, in this state, in this point in time, we, on the conservative side of the aisle, have the best policy solutions. We need to fix or repeal this awful cap-and-trade tax scheme. Let's keep talking about this. Let's keep talking about the ways that we, as conservatives, can make the lives of everyone in Washington better. We win on issues. Let's focus on good issues. That's it for this week. I'll talk to you again next week with another update on politics and policy in Washington State.